Hi, I'm Empty Pockets and welcome to Pockets World. In this episode I'm building a sweetberry farm in combination with a bone block farm. The big advantage of this, it is self-running, doesn't need attention because I also put in a overflow system. So let's jump straight in and see what needs doing. As you can see, I've cleared out an area and laid out the foundation pattern. The yellow and white squares are the build itself. The orange squares are where I'm putting support pillars in. The blue squares are where I'm holding the foxes at the top, and I'm going to put in some pigs at the bottom. I'll leave that on screen for just a moment so you can get a rough idea of the measurements. You can obviously tailor this to your own needs. This is my setup. I do know the Nuvola MC did a similar thing a few months ago, so I will give him credit for the part he did, but mine goes beyond that. I'll leave a link in the description to showcase his. The first thing I need to do is dig out all this dirt 2 blocks deep, or in the case of here, 1 block deep. I will build this up into a wall or something. That includes what's in the build itself. I'm aware we have rooted dirt here, which should lead down to a lush cave. I may well dig that out at a later point, but it won't be today. I'll keep a note of where it is though. I usually line floors and stuff with more solid blast resistant block, simply because it does save a lot of hassle where I can. Not always possible, hence I'm lining this with stone, but you can actually do this part on plain dirt if you so wish. That includes in here as well, although we will be digging it out a little more, but just to get the basic start going, let's get this done. So you should end up with something looking like that. Under the second block away from this orange block here, or this corner, I'm going to take that out and that out and put a copper bulb. On top of that copper bulb you want a piece of redstone. On top of that redstone you want a solid block. Your choice. You want to dig down again too, into here, into here. Out of this copper bulb you want a comparator, which leads into a piece of redstone dust which goes in a sort of shape like that, and into a repeater going into that block there. Come back into this section where the boxes will be and put a powered rail. One is sufficient here. If ever you want to turn the farm off, all you need to do is press this button here. I've made it dark oak so it looks pretty much the same as this log here. You can make it whatever colour you want, and you just need to build this section back in. Now what happens is when you turn that on, it'll light up the bulb and it will also light up this rail here. That's the on off switch. Next I want to run rail all the way down here, all the way around up until this point here. So in here I want a barrel. Anyone that watches my videos know that I always place my barrels upside down because I think they're more aesthetically pleasing. It's up to you which way you put yours. We'll fill that in for now, although it will be coming out. Into this barrel you want one hopper here and one hopper here. This hopper goes into this hopper, this goes into the barrel. The reason is I'm going to have powered rails, and this is going to have an automatic stop system to it as well, which you put in here. You need a comparator coming out of this hopper into a block, solid block, and you want a redstone torch on the back of that. On top of that, a stone torch. You want a block. Out of that, going back the opposite way, you want a repeater into a solid block. What that does is keeps this rail constantly on. However, if a minecart with hopper comes along and it's got something in it, it goes from this hopper into this hopper into this hopper, and that minecart will not move until it's empty, because this little bit of redstone here turns this off. Somewhere halfway between this and this end, you need to place some torches 2 blocks down in a line like this. Over that, you need to put a solid block. This is so we can put in some powered rails. You don't actually need that many, but for this purpose of this I'm going to use 3 on each line. So you should end up with something like that. Don't worry about this one, and put that one back in a moment. And that is all you need to do to join them. And this goes straight up that way. That's your rail lining, apart from this one, which we can now repair. One there and one there. And when my cart goes here, it will stop if this is switched off. It will continue if it's switched on. If your minecart's empty, it will automatically hit this block here and go back. If it's full or got anything in it at all, it will stop on this part until it is empty. Now, I don't want to be working with a minecart just yet, so I'll leave that out and put it in once we've done the rest. This is where the sweet berries will be collected. Now, I know some people use a double chest, but 1,728 berries, I don't think I'm going to use that many, so I prefer the barrel. The next step in the process is to put this lock on this barrel so that anything going down from it will be restricted. I'm going to use the extended version of my lock here, because I don't want a torch showing here. Comparator, stone. This is in a short video posted earlier. I'll also leave it in a link at the end of this video and the screen above if I can ever get that to work. This again can be done for now. That can come out of there. I want the hopper below this barrel going into a composter. However, if all you want is the berries, then you can dig down a few more and put in the trash bin that I highlighted in a short video earlier. Again, that will be in the playlist after this video. And I'm definitely making this a repeater rather than the redstone dust because I'm not sure how it's going to affect the rest of the build. That's the first one in. Now I need to dig this out. You'll need the space. I'm putting my block of redstone there. The reason I've hidden this torch is because this is going to be a ladder down eventually. And I don't really want to see a torch, so I've hidden it. The next is to get this composter sorted. I want a hopper going into this piece of stone here. I'm going to dig this out. This hopper leads into a crafter. And now I've got to get that to work. Take some of this out. Need the comparator behind the crafter here into a block going into a piece of redstone just under that block. The other side of that redstone I need a repeater. Which comes round to feed this block here. This repeater's on subtractive mode. Now I just need to do the same here, put in a comparator into that. And another crafter here. This crafter needs to be set with 8 panels already full, leaving 1 short. Again, this is in the short list of videos I've left in the playlist at the end, and you should see this one come up above on the screen as well. So once this barrel up here is full up, it's going to drop sweet berries into this hopper through the composter, making it into bone meal, and the bone meal will collect in here. Once it reaches 9 pieces of bone meal, it will spit out a block, which goes into this hopper and into the item elevator I'm about to build. We put a block with a space in between here on the ground there, and then stick your torch. Again, this will be highlighted at the end of the video in its own playlist. You need to come up here now. It should end up on the corner of this here. Should only be about 3 tall. Yeah, that's fine. Come down there. Now and build the rest of it. Repeater in there. Redstone dust there. And comparator goes out of the back of the dropper there. That goes into a block with a redstone dust on it. Sorry, a redstone torch on it. We then need to build up the blocks. So we create a pattern. Those don't need to be there. That one. That doesn't matter whether it comes out or not. So we should have something looking like this. Stick the torch here, And I think that's it. Yes, that goes up to there, that goes up to there. Yes, that's fine. That's the item elevator done. It's only a short one, but it's useful. Now to that item elevator comes a hopper. That goes into another hopper facing downward, which again has one of these locks on it. And to save on the redstone block, I'm going to build it exactly the same as this one. Except the torch is going to come this side of the block instead of the end. Because I need to be this line downwards. It does not affect this repeater or this switch, so it should be fine. So once the bone blocks are made, it gets fed through this system, fires up there, and will come into chests eventually down here somewhere. I'm going to put these chests right here. As you can see, I've switched this one out for a stair, this block here. The comparator I replaced and put on top of it, we could do that now. There. And putting some temporary blocks here for chests. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be more than enough bone blocks if ever it gets full. Into this here I need a hopper. Just place it facing into that there, and one in there and one in there. I also need one at the bottom under this chest here. And I need to follow that through and put another one into that hopper there. So it's an unbroken chain. Here I need to bring the signal from this torch downwards so it locks this hopper. And the way to do that is very simple. You just put a block in there, a block here, and a block here. On top of this block, under the torch, you need a redstone dust. You can actually make that a spot, it doesn't matter, it still works the same. On the side of that, you want a torch, add a switch off. On top of this block, you want another redstone dust. Again, you can make that a spot if you so wish. And with a redstone torch on the side of that. Into this block, next to this hopper, you want a repeater. And into that repeater, you want a redstone dust. That hopper is now locked. So that's the chest system or collection system in for the bone block, as well as the wheat berries. However, if this system gets full, this elevator here is going to choke up with lots of bone block, although it's going to take a while to do that. So the overflow system is here that I mentioned, is going to be the bin. If you've got wooden items such as chests or anything flammable, this needs to go further down by at least 2 blocks. I usually do my 3. So that's what I'm going to do here, is put in my trash can here. That will do nicely. And in here is going to be where I put the lava. For this, I'm going to need another dropper. You can use dispensers, but the problem with that is if something does get into the system that shouldn't be, and a dispenser uses, such as a bottle or a bucket, is going to draw the whole thing back in again. So it's best to use a dropper always. And then we build our system here, taking a block out of the back of the dropper into a comparator, into a block which goes into another piece of redstone. Next to the redstone dust, we put the block into a repeater, redstone dust, get it right in a minute, redstone dust into another repeater, into a block. Again, this will be in the short video list in the playlist, demonstrating how these work and how they're built. And that's the trash canning. That's your overflow system in place. This needs a bucket of lava there. Alternatively, if you want this really close up to flammables, you put a cauldron in and fill the cauldron with lava. Nothing will burn from that. I prefer putting them deeper down because they often use other lines coming into them. Place 2 blocks above that, so that's full up. And add a hopper there, add a hopper there, and that's your overflow system done. All you need to do is fill in these blocks. And that's the actual system complete. You don't need any more than that in here. So fruit berries come in to this hopper here, feed into this barrel. If the barrel's full, it will drop one and it comes down to the composter, which composts it. Once that's full, it'll drop a piece of bone meal that feeds into the crafter. Once that's full, that will drop a bone block into this, which goes up the elevator through this system into this barrel, into this chest. Once this chest and these hoppers up to that one up there is full, it will drop anything coming into that hopper out of this, so there's room. It cycles it through and into the bin. That's it. It's very simple. Doesn't need touching after that. That is a redstone complete. You don't need any more in here, and the system will work fine by itself and needs no more attention. However, if you're in the area and you're doing work and you end up with a bunch of leaves or a bunch of saplings or whatever that you can compost, you can still use this system to do so. All it means is you need an extra composter down there. To do that, you need to put in a hopper there, a composter on top of it, there, another hopper on top of that composter, and you feed a line of hoppers into that. Now I'm going to put mine on this corner, as I'm going to have a fence around this, so I'm not going to be able to get round here unless I'm outside the fence. But I'm going to have a wall here, or block, whatever. I'll be able to reach this bin, which as usual will be a upside down barrel. That's it. That can be filled in. So that's an optional composting system. And the other optional one is another bin. So that if you want to get rid of stuff that you don't want in the area, then you've got a way of getting rid of it straight away. And that's basically a hopper line down to this bin here. Right there. Or here, doesn't matter. So long as it feeds into this hopper here, or this hopper. I prefer this hopper myself, because that way I know it's not going to get locked. That goes in there, goes in there, and you just feed it up here somewhere. And that goes into there, and you just bring the line up, like so. No, these torches will not lock this line so long as it is facing downwards. If you have this hopper facing into this hopper, next to this torch, it will lock, but as long as it's facing downwards, it should be fine. And that is going to have a barrel next to that again, or a chest, it doesn't matter which. As your bin. And that's pretty much it. Those are 2 optional extras you can put in there. All I now need to do is tidy this up a bit and fill in any places that don't require anything in them. I'll bring you back in after that. As you can see, I've tidied things up a bit. Everything's filled in that should be filled in. I've put a trapdoor here with a ladder down to this section, so I've got access to the 2 double chests. Everything else is filled in. You don't see anything but this and the torch behind there maybe. But I can't help that, and the redstone here, I can't help that either. But other than that, it's looking good. This one, this trapdoor, hides this barrel. Simple as that. And all you do is see a little bit of this rail here, and that's it when it's open. This has got to stay open because obviously the minecart with hopper will come across here. This block should be fine. I'll test it in a moment, and we'll find a way of covering that up. This is going to be hidden, and I think that's the rest done. This is the next part of the project, getting this section here in so I can get some foxes in. So let's fill this in. Obviously this comes out as far as you can want it to. I'm going to bring this out to here, including this piece here, I think, and fill that in. Now, because I know where my post is, I know this block here is, well, this block here is going to be where I put my minecart. This I want a wall along to here maybe, and the rest probably be fences, maybe a bit wall, bushes, stuff like that. Let's get that in first because I want to get foxes in and this farm up and running. What I need is minecart with hopper. Right there. You can cover that up. I will do that in a minute. Then you send it on its way. And that should come up this end. There we go. That's now working properly. So we can switch that off. Yes, that's working. Yeah, and we can cover that up. First up, I want to put in a wall on this side and maybe build a frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And across these, I want beams. This way. These 2 I want knocked out. No, these 3 actually I want knocked out. And at the back. This I want to place like so. Oh, this is the way I build usually, making sure I've got everything in the right place. This I want to replace with this. That can come out and be replaced by grass. This is how I build. I wing it. Simple as that. There's no two ways about it. That's what I do. I wing it. And that one goes there. And now. 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 So when I'm actually standing here, I can still reach that barrel here. This can come out one more. Like so. And that will be the upstairs floor up there. I'm going to need another one of these here, along with a wall here, but I only want it going up as far as that. That looks good and solid. Right, okay, now sticking with the strip spruce, I want to go in here and knock out that one and break it up with a bit of oak here and there, like so. We can then knock a window into the middle of that and that. You'll see why I've taken the bottom one out in a minute. No, in fact I'll leave the bottom in there. Top one can be changed out. This side's going to be stone or something. I want to represent part of this build with what it actually makes, which is bone block. That's where the door is. I love that sound. That's where the door is. Here. And go like so. And again there. So we have something like that. This can be a floor level here. We'll leave that there like that for now. Now what I need to do is put in this pen. Feature pockets here. Unfortunately, I lost the footage for the building of both the fox pen and the pig pen. It got scrambled. The audio was terrible. The footage was fine, but the audio was terrible, so I've had to leave those out. However, I will show you what I've done. I also lost the roof footage of me building the roof, which was rather a shame because it's the first time I've built that sort of roof. However, I will show you what you missed, and then we'll get back to the video. This is the pig pen. I've put some pigs in here already, obviously. This is after I finish the video. I've got a couple of mushrooms, a few grass blocks. I then hit this out with fruit berries, a couple of foxes. I put an armour stand there because that has a range on it of 8 to 12 blocks. I can't remember which one. And well, that's it. The foxes won't sleep, so they work in the day as well as night. They tend to be lazy otherwise in the daytime. Basically, the pig pen or the shelter part is built out of different variants of stone brick and andesite and stone with campfires for the roof. Up here, this roof is the first time I've ever done one of these, so I thought it turned out quite well. I've made it look a bit old with leaves on, and as you can see, put this window sill in. Looks quite good, I think. We'll go inside a bit in the next part of the video. That part came out okay. So yeah, that's basically what you missed. Me building that, the wall, planting all this stuff up down, changing this out, and of course building the roof, this piece, and the chimney of course. So back to the video. Here and a smoker here. I'm going to knock this block out. Be careful here because if you knock that block out, it's going to knock out the torch behind it. And I want a... there, that's it. And we can now put that floor back in. I may actually texture that in a moment. Let's put one here. That's it. So that's all now hidden. You can get to the fire if you want to cook anything in there. And how we're doing we're doing quite well. I want a bed here. I'm going to have a villager over here. So we can have some barrels here. One there. And one there. I can put trapdoors below that. That makes a shelf. Put a pot there and some candles here. Like those. Although there should be enough light from the fire, it looks nice to just have some candles in there. This is the ceiling height, so I can't go above that. Yeah, that'd be alright. We can put that there. Yeah, that's sizzling away. There's maybe a few decorations on the wall like so. That in there. So that he does bone block. And sweet berries here. That's fine as it is, I think. So we've got plenty of storage down here. We've got the smoker and the crafting table. I think that's about it. Go out here and get hold of the villager. Now, because I've got so many barrels about, I don't want them to take the barrel fence. I've closed this off with fences. The honey blocks are there for a reason. I will cover them up shortly. But here and here are weak points for escape. So I put honey blocks down so he can't jump. Move about, but he can't jump. Put him in there, that's it. Do me. Okay, let's see what he's offering this time. Pork chops, that's brilliant. That's exactly what I want. Lock him in. He stopped still for 5 minutes. That'll do. I'll deal with him in a moment. Break that, because he's now locked in. Break that, break that. Now he can't escape now because I've got this here. So he's quite happy here. He's got his workstation. Now I just need to get the upstairs done. Let's go upstairs and do that. Slightly bigger area here, so I'm going to put in 2 beds here, just in case of lodgings. I'll stick out this here. Well, we'll stick some barrels in here. And here. And again here. As for storage, we'll stick a cauldron up here as well, I think. As a wash basin for any visitors. I want a couple of bottles of water in there. With a tap. Tap goes there. So we're all good. That's the only downside here is that part. I may well cover that with... I'm putting some shelves along this side. Cover that up. That looks... yeah, that looks good. Okay. I'll do the same here as well. Get there. Yeah, that looks reasonable. And of course we need a sign in for the visitor's book. One there and one there. And we want a lantern in the ceiling. Right. There. That's it. 1, 2. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's the upstairs done. It's very simple, very plain, because I don't actually intend using this much. We'll cover these over, maybe here, here, and just place in some path blocks. And a splash of colour, especially in this corner here and this corner here. And we'll do that down. Yeah, that's it. That'll actually do nicely. Bit of an overgrown garden area there. This is the balcony area. We could put some lights out here. One there and one at this side. That keep that lit up there. Open that up, and in here with the trapdoor. That'll look nice. Over this side we can put some shutters maybe. For the window. And this side we can put a little plant pot or something. This. And on that one I want to put a slab there. On that windowsill we can put a plant pot with a tree sapling. Now I need some light up here, so I'm thinking of putting a lantern right there. It's got to go. Don't think it will. No, it won't. Light in this section isn't important, so we'll leave that. We will, however, the spruce gate we'll put across here. Get some bit of extra, and that looks good. Fairly simple, but good. On the back here, we don't actually have to do anything, but I'll put some plants and stuff down there. And on the front here we can do the same thing with the gate, like so. Make them spruce, keep them the same. And at the end put benches. That just gives it a bit more character, that's all. Yeah, something like that. We'll spawn him. Yeah. Now I just need some pigs in here. That's it. Just cut off. There's some grass in here as well. That'll do. They're working away quite happily. I want some pigs in here, and that's it. I think we're done. Just a couple of pigs. Before, I'm going to put more. That's our butcher, who deals with pork. So apart from being a Sweet Berry Farm, Bone Block Farm, I can actually use this as a lodgings or gonna have a story behind it. Not quite sure what yet, but this is gonna have a story behind it. That section's done, that section's done. I'm not going to put pathway down there yet. I will be coming back here shortly to do some more, but that will be off camera. I want to bring a pathway down through here and bring a bridge across there somewhere. But this is all built within the same chunk so that I can put in an Ender Pearl Stasis Chamber. I'll put my Ender Pearl Stasis Chamber in that corner there, so this keeps the whole thing loaded. I've textured the walls just a little bit with some quartz, as you can probably tell. And that's about it. That's the build complete. Now it's going to carry on collecting sweet berries, and also it will make bone block eventually. It's got an overflow system, and I've got a butcher downstairs. Once I level him up, I can then sell him the sweet berries and get emeralds. So yeah, quite a useful little farm if you think about it. That wraps this one up. If you've enjoyed the video, please smash that like button. Certainly leave a comment so I can respond, and consider subscribing. All of those, or just one of those, will help the channel out greatly. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.